Well, hey everybody, Backyard Scrapping here, and welcome to part 4 of our contact and miscellaneous silver refine. um, I got everything out here in the lab now. I got a little hot plate set up. Um, I know it's inside, but we're not going to be boiling anything. This is just to warm. So we have each of these bags that are already weighed out. There is a little bit of tungsten in some of them. I'm not going to worry about that because I don't believe there's enough to make a difference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get some beakers and some coffee pots and whatever it takes here, and we're going to go ahead and get these pots labeled and get some distilled water in them, and then we're going to start adding our nitric acid and dissolving this stuff. So when I get them set and ready to go on this burner or this heating plate, we'll get back at you. Okay guys, we have got our contacts in our containers. I've got them all marked 1 through 6 and their weights and the amount of distilled water we're starting with in each one, which is a little more than the weight per gram. You know, I just kind of rounded it up. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm figuring it's going to take approximately 1,100 milliliters of nitric acid. So I've got 1,000 in this big beaker. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding this probably about a fourth at a time. See how hot our plate is. I guess we can turn it up a little bit. Yeah, we'll turn it up a little bit. Anyhow, I'm going to do that. Everybody's seen me do this a bunch of times, but anyway, I'm doing them in the batches that they were bagged in. There's probably going to be some tungsten mixed in here, but anyway, we have our weights and everything, and I'm going to, keep track over here. I've got a list for the nitric acid. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding some nitric acid, and then we will come back and take a peek at it in a little while and see where we're at. I'm just going to measure it out and pour it in, so there's no, nothing fancy going. Like I said, I'm probably going to start with this has got 445 grams of contacts in it, so I'm probably going to slowly add about a fourth of that. Maybe even only about an eighth of it to start with to get everything going. And I'm going to do that in each batch, and then we'll come back and take a look at them and see what we got going on. So we will be back at you then. Okay guys, so what I've done is I've added approximately an eighth of the amount of acid per volume of water to each one of these. We're getting a slight reaction in this one. Our others, we're getting a pretty decent reaction. This is a very small amount of nitric for that amount of water. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let these go. We're getting, like I said, a nice slow reaction, which is what I want. I'm going to let them go for about 15 or 20 minutes, and I'm going to add double. I'm going to add double what I've added to it already. So I've added 50, 40, 25, 10, 5, and 2 milliliters of acid per container, the way they were supposed to be. So like I said, 15-20 minutes, we'll see what they're doing, and I'm going to come back and add that amount again, and then I'm just going to let them go for a while. So it may take, I don't know, all night probably to dissolve this stuff, maybe a little longer. I like doing it slow. I don't want any boil overs or any accidents. So alright, when we add our next batch, I'll get back with you. This is just kind of the boring part. There's really not that much to see, other than this is just getting dissolved. And we will probably drop these in their individual batches just to see what each batch yielded, and then we'll do a total. Alright, so when we're going to add some more acid, I'll get back to you. Okay guys, it's been, I don't know, maybe a half an hour or so. So I just came out and added another round of nitric to this. So we now have 100 mils in this, 80 in this, 50 in here, 20, 10, and about 4. So that's where we're at. We're still getting a nice, good, even, slow reaction. I don't know how well you can see that. This one is actually going a little slower, and reason being is that material is probably cleaner and purer than the rest. So it's not going to react as fast because this other stuff is dissolving, you know, a mixed metal, so it's going to react a little bit faster. And these are really going good. But that's the way I like it. I don't like it to really go any harder than that because, like I said, we've got a little bit of heat under it. So, you know, we're going to keep a nice even reaction going. That's how I want to do it. So anyhow, this is probably going to go again for another half hour. Maybe I'll let it go an hour, and then I'll come out and I'll do this again. And we'll just keep basically doing this same thing over and over. So I'm not going to keep recording this over and over and over and just showing you every time I add acid. I'm going to just let it go until we get down to the filtering point and the cleanup point, and then we'll come back then. Because like I said, there's you know, I'm going to be doing this exact same thing until these are basically dissolved. Okay guys, so we will get back at you then. Oh, one other thing I wanted to add. There is a back fan going. So you don't think this is just sitting here creating fumes. I do have the back fan going. Alright guys, we'll be back. Okay everybody, it is the next day. Most of our stuff is dissolved. This, I believe, just has some tungsten left in it. The same with the rounds. Looks like we have to add a little more acid to our wire and scrap, unless that was just plated material. This was our little, the little pressure ones, the small things. They're completely gone, and looks like they were pretty clean. Looks like they're the cleanest of the bunch, next to the rounds. I stirred this up a little bit. This was our other, I believe, our miscellaneous stuff. Yeah, the mixed, small mixed, and there's a few, I don't know if you can see them, but there's a couple left in there, so we're going to let that go a little while longer, and then this one's going to have to go a little while longer. So I'm going to go ahead and start filtering the ones that can be filtered, and I'm going to add a little more acid to these other guys. I believe, like I said, those are just tungsten left in there, and those are tungsten left in there. So we're going to do our filtering. I've done it a million times. When I get to these little ones, I'm going to go ahead and just do. When we get to a bigger one, we'll go through the process on one of these. I'm not going to go through it 6 times. So anyhow, let me go ahead and get some more acid in the ones that need it and get set up to start filtering these other ones out. And then when we get to one of the larger ones, we'll go through the filtering process one time. Alright guys, we'll be back at you in a bit. Okay guys, we got most of our filtering done. I had said I was going to keep one of these bigger ones and go through the process, but we're actually going to keep this one and go through the filtering process with it. And I want to do that because there's some weird stuff in here. I mean, we got little, I don't know what that is. It took more nitric to dissolve this, way more than it should have. And we've got these little silver, I don't know if it formed like sheets or foils, or if that is sheets or foils. But we're going to filter that off. We're going to see what that is. That was from the fuse stuff. You know, the wire and the fuse innards. This is the rest of our stuff up here on the shelf that's been filtered. Don't you just love the variety of color? These are all almost the same. But this one's almost clear on the right, and the one on the left is totally different, just green. You never know what you're going to get. So anyway, I've been making the coils up. I was actually just uploading part 3 of this refine, and I got to stop for the day, and because I had to redo it. It's for I don't know whatever reason now, I'm going to gripe a little bit, and you who know me know that, hey, sometimes I do this. But you get known on YouTube by little things, maybe your intro music or something you do or say or whatever. Well, anyway, I just on the video previous to this, I was getting ready to upload part 3, and I go on my in my creator area or whatever you want to call it, and there's copyright claim on part 2 of this. Now I just went through this. I guess it was the video I made when I got hurt my back. Well, anyway, whatever. Anyway, because if you notice in part 2 or part 1, I don't know, I don't even remember now. But anyway, there's no sound at the end because I got a copyright claim for the sound, the music at the end. Now, all this was supposed to be free. All you're supposed to have to do is do tribute, or put it listed in your description area, or whatever you're supposed to do. I love how they just change the rules or change whatever they want to do, or suddenly this outfit copyrights this and now you got to pay. This happened to me before with a program I bought. I actually bought and paid cash money for a program and everything that was in the program. I used a sound effect or a clip or something out of the program that I paid for, and next thing you know, I got a copyright claim against me for that particular thing. So I start researching it and looking it up, and apparently whoever posted this or whoever sold this video or audio clip for this program put it under a different name. So this particular creator, or whatever you want to call him, crook is what I call him, sold the same music to a company under a different name, and if you look it up, he's got a copyright on it under both names, and one of them's under, so that when it pops up or you use it on YouTube, then he gets to file a claim against you and collect your revenue. But he sold it to the company that, that the program under a different name. Now, I probably could have fought that and won, but the problem with doing that is you have a copyright claim, and from what I understand of it, as long as it's just a claim, they just get your revenue from that video. So you don't get you do all the work, you do everything, and they got a 10-second little clip in there, or like my intro, and they're going to get all the money, or they're going to get all the view revenue from that video, which doesn't make any sense. But anyway, needless to say, no more music. I got my little gripe session off my chest, and I just decided that that's it. I'm not going to put it nowhere. I'm not going to use music anywhere. So if they get a copyright claim on me, it's going to be for my voice. So I'll claim one against myself. But anyway, I'm done babbling and complaining. I'll come out here and get on this tomorrow, because I'm actually having to change the intro and re-edit the video and do all that stuff so I can upload it. I already changed 2. I was able to do that, thankfully, on YouTube. I didn't have to delete it. I could actually just block out the music there. But in the beginning of this video, you'll see, or you will have seen the new, the new thing. So anyway, just more. I mean, I don't get this. They want you to create, they want you to do things, but as long as you're making money for them, it's okay. You start making a little something for yourself, or getting paid back for a little bit of what you've done, and then they try to find new ways of clipping you out of it. But anyway, neither here nor there. I got to shut up now, or I'll just, I know you guys didn't come to this video to hear this crap. So I'm going to go in for the night. We'll go on that tomorrow, and we'll melt that and see if we got any, who knows what it is. I don't know anymore. I mean, I thought that chainmail was silver, and it wasn't even close. So maybe I'm just slipping in my old age. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, guys, it's the next morning. I just wanted to real quick see if you can see this. I didn't stir it or mix it up any, but I'm trying to get it where, let me see if I can get out here in the light. Let's see if you can see what's going on here. You see that stuff? I don't know how good this is going to work or show you, but anyway, that's what's going on in here. And it looks like it's reforming crystals of some kind. The movement is slow, but it's a bright silvery looking, I don't know what it is. So anyway, we're going to filter that out, and I'm going to put it in that little melting dish, my little ugly melting dish over there, and we're going to melt it and see if it forms up into anything. Like I said earlier, it took a lot more nitric acid to dissolve this for its weight than any of the other stuff. So let me get it set up to filter, and we'll get back at you when we're going to do some more with it. Okay guys, I can now see that there is, looks like maybe there was some stainless steel, I don't know, stainless steel wire or something in there that wasn't dissolved by the nitric acid. You can see the little pin looking things. But what this other stuff is that has dropped out or formed around it, I have no idea. So I'm gonna try and see if I can get those pins out of there, so that we can get this in the filter and melt it, because they're not gonna come off, or they're not gonna, you know, melt, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, let me tinker around with this for a bit, see if we can get this stuff out of here, and see if it'll melt. All right, we'll be back in a bit. Okay guys, here is the stuff that was left in the bottom, and it's still getting little, I've rinsed it several times, and it's still getting little like sparklies in the water. I probably rinsed that about 5 or 6 times and shook it up. So I don't know what this metal is that was under this stuff. I have no idea. I don't know if it is something that cemented the silver back out. I stopped filtering into there because I've had to use so much water. I don't want to get too much water in there, so I'm going to see if it'll double up for our drop. But I'm also going to melt this. I'm going to put this filter in there because it's a shiny, I don't even know. I don't know what, this is another new thing. That's what I'm saying. You never know what you're going to run into doing this stuff. It's pearly looking in the, you know, in the water. But I don't know. We'll get it filtered out and we'll see if it'll melt. See what it is. And I may try, I don't know if this is stainless steel that was under this stuff. I do know it came out of fuses. It may be possibly palladium. I really don't know. I just don't know. I've done, you know, buku fuses, and I've never had something like this left when I wasn't getting any reaction anymore. So anyhow, when this gets filtered out, I'll go ahead and let this filter dry out. In the meantime, as soon as I'm done with this part, I think I will go ahead and start dropping these. I'll get that copper finished up. I'll add my extra water to this stuff so we can do the drop, and we'll start dropping these while this is finishing up. So let me get set up to do that, and we'll be back at you. Okay guys, I have actually started these 2 smaller ones. They should only take the 1 coil that's in them to drop. The rest of these are going to take a couple different coils to get everything out of them. So I just started those because they're not that easy to see. So let's go ahead and get these going. I've got the coils made and laid out. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this one in, and we will cover it up. And I'm going to go ahead and drop this bad boy in. And we will cover it up. And I've got this one over here for the big guy. And we will, well, I didn't make that one quite long enough, but that's alright. And we will cover it up. Now, for the most part, we're just going to let these go. I might come out and bump them every once in a while. You've seen me do silver drops before. So that's really about all we're going to do right now. I am letting this other stuff from the number 6 batch finish out. I've got a coil made for it. This was the more concentrated part, but we're going to mix those two together and we're going to drop our coil in that and see what we get out of this stuff. We're getting pretty good reactions up here. We're getting nice clean looking stuff. This number 5 is looking a little dirty, but that just could be, you know, aeration or whatever's going on in there. So all the rest of them are looking nice and clear and clean, getting nice good drops out of them. So guys, I'm going to let this go. I'm going to go ahead and mix this other little batch up and get it going as well. And it's probably going to be a day or two, because I like to leave these sit for a while to make sure all the silver is out of the solution. Then we're going to do our acid cleanup. Then we're going to dry it and get it weighed and see what we got out of this stuff. So like I said, it'll probably be a couple days, and we'll get back at you then. Well, good morning everybody. The first part of our drop has completed. These were the two smaller ones. When I said I had made the coils, I knew there was going to be enough coil, you know, to drop everything. But still, I like to stir it up because it does kind of, you know, the acids kind of separate in there when the drop is going on. So I stir them up, let them settle, and I'll put those coils back in and make sure everything is dropped out of it. I've done the same to these two already, but these two completely dissolved their coils, so I knew that was going to happen as well. So I have to put in a couple more and let them go. And also I wanted to show you, before I stirred this one up, I wanted to show you the silver snake. And what happens here is this gets so weighted down with silver, and if there's a weak spot in the coil, it snaps off and falls to the bottom. So I have to crush that up, and this one was, in fact, or not, this one wasn't as bad, but this one had, you know, a snake in it as well. And so I had to, you know, you got to crush it up, take a rod and just keep crushing it up, because sometimes there's a little tiny pieces of copper or something like that left in there, and if you break it up and stir it up real good, you know, that copper will finish, you know, changing over. Normally when I finish this out and get done with it, after I dry it, I will put it in a dish and take a stainless steel fork and crush everything in there and go through to make sure there's not any bits of wire. Every once in a while you get a real little, like something like this, a real little tiny piece of, you know, the end of one of these that ends up being a fine little piece of copper wire in there. And I usually keep the clumps myself when I'm doing, you know, the weigh out or doing the division, just in case there's any copper in it. But anyway, I wanted to show you that pretty, look at those crystals. I wanted to show you that pretty little silver snake before I bust it all up. So, alright, I'm going to let this stuff settle. When it clears out, we'll put our new coils and put our other coils back in, make sure we've dropped all this silver. I've got this, I'm letting that filter dry out. I've got this stuff from number 6, and that weird, whatever the heck it was. This stuff is out here. A little bit rainy today, but that's what was left. I have no idea what that is, but we'll just let that sit in here and dry, and we'll see. We'll melt it off, and I'll hit it with a little bit of 10 karat gold test acid, and if it turns yellow, it's palladium. So anyway, I could probably do the same with that stuff and see what happens. Okay guys, I got some chores to do inside. I'm actually well, you'll have already seen the video before you know, before you see this, but I'm making a video to do a new intro. I know I went on a rant about you know, about the music issue and the copyright stuff, but I found a site that I actually found it years ago, and he seems to be above board. Like, they're not gonna, you know, you're not going to use his stuff and then down the road they're going to try and hit you with copyright so they can collect your revenue. But anyway, so I'm going to go in there and work on that little thing. It's like I said, you'll have already seen it before you see this, and we'll be back at you later. Okay guys, another day has passed. These are our two up here. There was a little bit of silver on these coils, probably still a little bit left. So I'm going to go ahead and let them go a little longer. These guys are finishing up. Still a little bit coming out of them, so we're going to let them go. This is our number 6 from that weird stuff there. I put this coil in 10 minutes ago, and I don't know, let me see if I can get on an angle where you can see this. I mean, there is a tiny, 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 and I mean tiny bit of silver that is forming on that coil, just barely. So what I'm thinking is, excuse my finger, I'm not used to using this phone. What I'm thinking is this stuff, whatever it is that we filtered out into here, this is probably our silver. Because this stuff was probably all, obviously it was all plated, because of that, you know, that what's left there. So this is probably the silver. I don't think it's anything but silver. I'm still going to melt that and test that with some 10 karat acid and see what color. If it turns black, it's silver. If it turns yellow, it's palladium. But anyway, so there's obviously not going to be that much in here. This is probably whatever this other metal is that we obviously dissolved some of when we were doing this. But like I said, we're getting a little, I mean, I don't expect hardly anything to fall out of that. So anyway, I got a couple chores I got to do. So after that, I'm going to go ahead and melt that filter, see if we get a little button of silver out of that. We're probably not going to get anything to speak of out of this. This is only 12 or 13 grams of material, and obviously, once again, it looks like it was plated. So there's probably going to be a little. This batch 6 is going to be virtually nothing. Alright, so when this settles down, I'm going to drop this last coil in it. I was crushing it up again, stirring it up, get that acid mixed up good, or the solution mixed up good so it'll drop. Then we'll be putting that coil in it, and it should finish out somewhere something along like this coil is doing. It shouldn't eat the whole coil. But anyhow, let me go do my chores so we can get back to this, and we'll see you then. Guys, it's the next afternoon. We have pulled our coils and stirred everything up. I'm going to let it settle down. We did get a little bit of a drop out of that one finally. That was this goofy thing down here. So there was a little bit of silver in there, and like I said, I haven't melted that yet. I'm not going to set up the torch for that little bit right now, so down the road when we get to it, we'll get to it. Here's the two big ones. They're still fairly cloudy, but they're settling out pretty nice. This one's a little cloudy, and these three are just about ready. So anyway, the clearest one, probably tomorrow, because it's starting to get up in the evening a little bit. Looks like it's going to rain again. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and call this video right here, and our next part will be our acid cleanup and our weigh-in and final tally. What I'll probably do is do one of these smaller ones and you know, on camera, and go through the process with you, and then it'll be identical. It's just, you know, bigger quantities or lesser quantities. We'll probably pick something right around in the middle. So anyway, guys, everybody take care, stay safe out there, and we will see you in the next video.